Some months after we got married, I was still in bed early one morning when I heard a voice that sounded like that of Anike in our living room. I ran to the living room in excitement and saw Anike with a baby. Bade was seated beside her. That wasn't anything big. We're all friends, so I didn't see anything. Now, if I had taken my time to assess the situation at that time, I probably would have heard their conversation. I would have saved myself some years of misery. I was glad to see her and curious about the baby. She told me a sad tale about how she got involved with her boss in the north and that the man died in an accident, and that was when she discovered that the man was married, and so she could not present the baby to her boss family. I felt so sorry for her. She said she didn't have anywhere to go, and I instantly offered that she stayed with us. Bade called me aside and advised that we should just try to get a place for her, that we're newly married and that she didn't think that Anike staying with us was a good idea. I kicked against it and told my husband off. I berated him for even suggesting that a grieving woman who had just put to bed would be sent to live on her own. That was how Anike started to live with us. My mom raised that objection when she got to know that Anike was with us. She even offered that Anike come stay with them, but I objected because I knew my mom was weighed down by my dad's illness. I promised her that when Anike got better, we would get her a decent accommodation, if only I'd listened to my mom. I soon got pregnant and we had to employ someone to help us. My mom got me a young girl called Agnes. My pregnancy was quite difficult and I attributed most of the symptoms to pregnancy. I started fainting and passing out a lot, and I was taken to the hospital. After the doctor ran a series of examinations, I was told I was being poisoned. Anike shouted that she knew that it was Agnes, that she knew that Agnes seemed suspicious and that she had seen Agnes talking to a strange man a couple of times. Anike and my mom went home and interrogated Agnes and found some pesticide in the toilet of her room and some prescription drugs she could not explain how she got. It was also established that she had visitors a couple of times. Agnes was locked up by the police, but she kept maintaining her innocence. Later, I asked my mom to let her go. My mom took me to her place to take care of me while Anike stayed in her house with Bade. One day, my mom mentioned that she wasn't comfortable with Anike being at home with Bade. She said in her church that they had warned that I should be careful with friends. I made fun of her and her church like I usually would do. I returned home after I had my baby. At that time, Anike had gotten a place of her own, but she would come to ours often. One day, she offered to help me give my baby his evening bath. And just within a short time, I went inside and came out. I heard my baby's deep cry. Anike said the baby slipped out of her hands. We rushed to the clinic and they suggested that they will keep us there all night. I stayed back while Bade went to drop Anike and then he went back home to sleep. The next day we were released and my mom came home with me. What I didn't know was that my mom had sneaked into my house and installed cameras when I was still in my parents' house. The footage left me in shock. I discovered Anike threw my baby on the floor intentionally. She was sleeping with Bade, and that she slept in our house that night that I was in the hospital. She also poured some powdery stuff in the can of my baby's milk. She poured some liquids in my favorite juice. The police had been invited, and I told Anike to come that I was back. I also begged Bade not to go to work. The both of them were rounded up in my house. Bade didn't know about the poisoning, but Anike's baby was my husband's child. Anike hated me so much because in her world, I had everything and I decided to take away the only man she really loved. I have since relocated to UK with my baby. As for marriage, I don't know if I will ever do that again. Bade claimed that Anike's baby was a mistake and Anike was using the baby to blackmail him. That's a story I'm not interested in. I would always cherish my mom for going all the way. My baby and I would have died in the hands of the person I called sister and best friend. Some of these stories seem like they come out from Nollywood. I can't just understand it. I'll be in the comment section. See you next week. Bye.
Please subscribe, like, comment, and share.